we're just doing things the way that everybody else does. So when's the last time you asked yourself, what do I want? What do I want?
Yeah.
Am I truly happy? Like, people don't even stop long enough to ask themselves, is this what I want?
Hello, my beautiful ladies. Welcome to another episode of Radiant Women. I am so happy for you guys to join us today. So today I have with me Laura Ora. She is an alignment coach for energetically driven female entrepreneurs and people who have an unfulfilled calling they're ready to pursue. I know how exciting is this episode going to be. She guides people to personal alignment by learning how to honor their energy. Love that. And truly listen to what they want instead of what they've been taught and they should. Now, this is a big one for me. This is, something I cover a lot, the expectations, and I love it. So this conversation is going to be absolutely amazing. Laura, thank you so much for coming on and welcome.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
So let's just get straight into it. Tell us, how did you come to doing what you're doing?
So this has been quite a journey. Getting to where I am today has been part of trial and error. It's been a part of my spiritual awakening. It's been through a lot of healing from childhood trauma. So it's like, it was not a singular path by any means. It's like all roads have led to where I am today. And I think that that's honestly true for most people. But I've been a business owner for 15 years. So I started my career as a graphic designer. I still own a branding agency. It's called Works & Co. And through working with entrepreneurs to create branding, I found that my soul lit up most when I was having the conversation with the entrepreneur themselves.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what made them excited and what kept them up at night, and what mental blocks were they experiencing, and what unfulfilled passions did they have? And like, I love branding, and that will always be a part of me, but I love the human side because I believe firmly that before we're an entrepreneur, we're a human.
Yes.
And as a human, we have thoughts and feelings and expectations and dreams and goals and just all the stuff that goes into ourselves. And when we can really get whole with ourselves, that goes right into the business. And so I started interviewing entrepreneurs. I did a live project called the Green Couch Project, which then turned into the Gutsy podcast, where I interview entrepreneurs. And now I work directly, particularly with female entrepreneurs, to help them get back into alignment.
Okay. I love that. Tell me, you said there, we're working with female entrepreneurs to get back into alignment. What does it feel like, or what does it look like when we are not in alignment? Because for me, I think that we get so comfortable, or we find pain or whatever it is that we're feeling, and we make it comfortable somehow, and we tolerate. And that's that kind of, we get to that tolerate level, and we're not aware when we are not in alignment and when we are not at, we're not at our best. So tell us, for working with your clients, what does it present as when we're not in alignment?
Yeah, I think this is a super important question because, as you mentioned, most people don't even consciously recognize that they're out of alignment, right? So I think it's helpful to define what alignment is. And that is when you are living your truest self. You're talking the way you want to talk, you're acting the way you want to act, you're dressing the way you want to dress, you're running your life the way that you want to, you're saying yes to the things that feel good to you, and you are non-negotiable, right? You are a priority, and you honor yourself. And when you're in alignment, everything just gets easier, right? It's like being on a 5-lane highway and there's no other cars. You're just smooth sailing going. It's not to say that things don't come up, right? We are humans and things do happen, but when you're in alignment, or you at least recognize your own alignment, you're better equipped to make better decisions to get you back into alignment much faster. So I'll start with that piece. Most people don't know that they're out of alignment, which is part of the work on my side, is to help educate and to help bring this to light. Because what I have found is the majority of people, not even just women, but people in general, are living on autopilot. They're getting up and doing the same thing every day. They're rushing around to get to work. They're rushing around getting kids here and there. They're going to things that they don't want to go to. They're in a job or in a business that is unfulfilling to them. And I hear this more often than not. I'm just trying to get through the day.
Yes.
And that makes my insides turn onto the outside, because that is so misaligned. That is not how we are innately supposed to live. That's not what we were designed for. That's all the thoughts, feelings, and expectations that were unintentionally put on us, right? We grab this person's feelings and that person's conditioning and the way the world is doing it like this and the way that business owners are doing it like that. And we grab all this stuff, and before we end up realizing it, we're just doing things the way that everybody else does. So when's the last time you asked yourself, what do I want? What do I want?
Yeah.
Am I truly happy? People don't even stop long enough to ask themselves, is this what I want?
Yeah.
And so that would be the first kind of brain ninja moment that I would give to you, is ask yourself and be very truly honest with yourself. Is this what I want? And you can ask yourself that with everything. Your business, your spouse, your career, your clothing, your car, whatever it is, alignment appears and doesn't appear in every aspect of your life. So ask yourself, is this what I truly want? And that usually is enough to start peeling back a layer to some deeper self-discovery.
Wow. I love that. So I guess it's for us to thinking about, because we kind of get dumped or choose or whatever, but we feel like we get dumped into a situation. And you wake up, it's kind of like you're driving your car and then you got from point A to point B. You have no idea what happened in between. But you suddenly need to get out of the car. So it's really that, those unconscious decisions and those unconscious biases, as you said, that is driving us where we need to go. And then all of a sudden we wake up and we feel out of alignment. We realize that it's not consciously that we want to be here. It's just we took a few turns and this is how we ended up here. So how do we start? So, and I know I have a lot of questions, so let me organize my mind.
I have an open.
How do we start? So what is, because I think oftentimes, and I've heard this from the way that I was brought up, I even hear it from my mum today, she's like, you have a daughter, you have a husband, what more do you want in life? What more could you want? You have a house, what more could you want? And absolutely, I am so grateful. My daughter's healthy. My husband and I, we have a great relationship. We have a roof over our head. 100% growing up from where I grew up, and how I was, the life that I lived. I'm so grateful to have that. But that also, hearing my mum say that, or hear it when people do say that, what more could you want? That turns my skin inside out. Tell us, how does that impact our alignment? And
that gave me a wave of emotion, because I'm like, how many people hear that and think, you know what, I should just be happy enough.
Yeah,
you're right. I shouldn't want more. I should just be content. And you hear the word should pop up a lot. It's a lot of what I teach is recognizing we're hearing and saying the word should. And in those scenarios, it's very easy to absorb that information and make it your own, right? Oh yeah, there is something wrong with me. I do have all these wonderful things in front of me. Why do I want more? What's wrong with me? We internalize these thoughts and projections from others, and we make it our own.
Yes.
As if it's our own voice in our own mind. And so it's so important to consciously wake the fuck up,
Mm.
right? And to hear those things and to recognize, like when someone says something to you like that, or types something on your social media that rubs your ass the wrong way, or like whatever it is, just stop and recognize it for what it is before we just immediately just grab it and put it in our suitcase and make it our own. So
Right.
when you're hearing your mom say that, or you're hearing someone else say that, before you absorb it, recognize it. Huh, that statement makes me feel something. Lean into it with curiosity.
Yep.
We immediately want to go to like black and white answers, but there is such
Mm.
a beautiful discovery in the gray space in between, and that's curiosity. So recognizing it and then being playful with it, being curious with it. Why does that make me feel like something? What am I making that about myself? What am I afraid of in this, right? Like there's some really inquisitive questions that you can go into. And then before you know it, you realize like, this is not me. I
Right.
am worthy of everything that I want in this world. And just because I have great things in front of me doesn't mean I can't have more. There's nothing wrong with me. And two things can be true. I can have wonderful things and I can want more wonderful things at the same time.
Yeah. I love that. And I just want to recap a few things because there was so much gold there that I really want to recap it. You gave us 2 steps to start recognizing when we are saying our shoulds, the 2 steps that we can do to help us get out of it, essentially. So step 1 was recognizing this first. So creating awareness of when you're actually doing it. And step 2 was creating space or not taking it personal, not taking it that is someone else's shoulds that I have picked up or that I am picking up. That's not necessarily how I feel. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Recognizing it and then being curious with it. Because
Yeah.
that's where, those steps often just get plowed right through. Right?
Yeah.
Like, let me just, I heard something and now I'm upset. There's a whole space in between, but we go from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. So giving yourself permission to pause before you take action, before you absorb it, before you make something about it, or if you like feel yourself starting to feel whatever that is, that's a really good indicator that like, hey, this is a really good opportunity for me to pause because I'm starting to have big emotion and I want to be curious about this first.
Right. So I guess that is our body's way of telling us that this is not in alignment if we are feeling big emotions, and particularly if they are, I don't want to say negative, but that I can't think of a better word right now, sort of skewed to the negative. If we're feeling fear or jealousy or even anger, I mean, anger is just sort of at the top of the pyramid. There's so much going on underneath. But so that's then our way of pausing, or our body telling us to pause and not to plow through it, as you said, to just take a breath.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to have it all figured out in one moment. We don't give ourselves the time to make decisions or process things the way that they truly want to be. And so instead of plowing through, like your body is a compass. It is always speaking to you. The key is, are you willing to listen to it? So recognizing when something's going on in your body is a huge indicator of like, hey, this is something that we need to work on together. And when I say together, I mean you and your soul. We're looking at your inner child, your current day self, and your future self. It's like a board meeting for all 3 of you. Like, ooh, we're all feeling something. Why don't we sit down and process this for a second? Your body is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it speaks to you in different ways. It can come through emotion, like we just mentioned. It can come through bodily ailments. How many times, and I can't give medical advice by any means, but I can give intuitive advice. And I can tell you that your body will show you things. right? Like if you've got a lot of like pain and pressure in your shoulders, you're carrying too much weight emotionally,
Mm.
physically, spiritually, right? Like if you're getting headaches all the time, if you're just like not feeling well, your body is saying, hey, we need something different. So
Yeah.
listen to your body. It is always communicating with you.
Wow. I love that. And then you also mentioned, when we are in our should phase, or where we are talking about our shoulds, to recognize that the reason why we're not feeling like, the reason why we're saying we should is because we're not feeling worthy of the want that we want, whatever it is that we want. And that is, I talk about this so much, that is such an important thing to recognize, that that worth is really, it is everything to us in a sense.
It is. Yeah, I have found that when we use the word should, it's our way of buffering what we truly want. So when we're using the word should, we're not giving ourselves permission to make a decision or make a statement or claim something that we're truly actually feeling. Right? It's like I'm not willing to put, or I'm not able to put affirmation behind a decision or a thought or a feeling or a need. Right? I'm not giving myself permission to claim what it is that I need. And so I'm going to throw the word should in there. One, it's a habit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit. I catch myself all the time doing it. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
there it is again. But two, it's an unfulfilled something inside of you. And so when you say like, oh, I should, if we're talking about business particularly, oh, I should add this new service. Should you? Do you want to? Or have you seen other people be successful? And so now you feel like you should because you want the success that they're having, not necessarily the service that they're offering. So it gets very deep very quickly. But it reveals everything. Like the answers that you're looking for all over the internet almost always are right in front of you if you will give yourself permission to stop and listen.
What if we are in the want that we want doesn't feel like we can have? So talking about that worthiness, let's say, if we're entrepreneur and we say, I want to make $1 million this year, but we feel like, I'm up to this point, I made 50,000. Now I want to jump, it's a big jump from 50 to million. And it feels like it doesn't, I don't know if it doesn't feel authentic, but it doesn't feel something. It doesn't sit right.
It doesn't sit right.
Yes. And it feels like we are, certainly that imposter syndrome, but certainly more of, like it's a bit, we're lying, like I'm just saying this so I can do something. How do we work through that when something that we want, whether it's a relationship, and we feel like that we can't have it for whatever reason, and it doesn't sit right with us? How do we work through that?
So if something's not sitting right with you, that's a pretty good indication that there's some misalignment happening. So, and it may not be that the want is misaligned, but the how is misaligned. So I would ask you to look at it, just kind of step back from it and say, am I trying to control this too much? Is this realistic in the time frame that I have set? Right? Like, is this truly what I want to do and how I want to do it? So your example of going from 50,000 to $1 million in 1 year, is it possible? Absolutely. Is it right for you?
Yeah.
People do it all the time. But is it right for you? See, that's where we get, again, caught back up in the should. Like, I should be able to do that. So now I have an expectation that if I can't go from 50,000 to $1 million, I have failed. We put this unspoken pressure on ourselves to achieve these big ass things. And it's not that they're not achievable. It's just that maybe we need more time.
Yep.
Maybe you go from 50,000 to 1 million over the next 3 years. Like, why do I have to have $1 million business this year? Like you start to pull back these layers and start looking at it like, what do I truly want? What is it from the $1 million that I want? Is it to be
What
able
am
to
I
say
trying
that
to prove? Yeah.
yes. Is it to say that I did it? Is it to have a story to tell? Is it to have, a badge that we put on our homepage and that we're wearing, strutting around with a crown on? Like, is that what we want? If it is, then that's okay. Be honest with yourself. I would imagine you probably want more flexibility in your finances, some more stability. You probably want some more downtime to be able to go places with your family. You probably want to be able to do like awesome Christmas shopping and not think twice about it, right? Like, it's the simple things in life. So could you do that if you went from 50 grand a year to 300 grand a year? Probably. And isn't that success just as important? Absolutely. So I think a lot of it is this unconscious pressure that we put on ourselves to have control of how we do it and when we do it, and like making it all fit inside this little box.
Right. So it's about our intention. So when we're thinking about what we want and our shoulds and everything that we put on ourselves, it's about what is our intention of this thing. And I say often, what is the feeling that you're chasing?
Yes.
Because, and then thinking about, that feeling, is it important that, that $1 million, as you said, is it as important as, as you think it is? Is that the only way to get that feeling? Because as you said, exactly. 300 could do it just as easily as 1 million could, but you may not get to brag about 7 figures.
And see, that's what it comes back to. It comes back to a glamour statement. And if we're searching glamour statements, you will not be fulfilled. I promise you.
Yeah.
You'll have some fulfillment. You'll have like a quick blast of like, yeah, I did it. And then you're going to be sitting on your couch at night going, but why do I feel like crap?
Right.
Why do I have $1 million business and feel like crap? You mentioned earlier about like it not sitting well with you. If you think about going from 50 grand to 300 grand, does that set better? Checking back into your body, does that sit better with me? Does that feel more obtainable? Does that feel like a realistic step for me? And I also get to have the financial freedom and time that I'm looking for? Okay. What if we wear that badge instead?
Wow. I love what you said there. If we are, when we get that $1 million and we're hoping that it will give us something and it doesn't, I feel like we're hoping that, that will give us the worthiness. People will see how much we're worth, and if they don't, and really the person that we want that, acknowledgement from is ourselves, and we don't feel worthy, then we're like, oh shit, well, that was almost a waste of time. Yes, I have $1 million, but I'm still not feeling what I'm meant to feel.
Well, and you stay on this rat race. Okay, that one didn't give me the feel. What's the bigger goal? Okay, now I need 2 million.
Yep.
Or now I need to add 20 people to my team. Or now I need to go buy 50 properties. I don't know, whatever it is. Like you just keep going. The search continues. And so we're always searching outside of ourselves for the answer when everything is already in here. It's about giving yourself permission to be who you are, do things the way that you do them, and allow yourself to be content. Holy crap. When is the last time you allowed yourself to be content?
Right.
Like to say, this is great. And I'm okay with that. I don't need more things. I don't need more money. Money's always great. Don't get me wrong. But if that's the sole purpose that we're reaching out for, you're always going to be left feeling a void inside of you. So allowing yourself to feel content and say, you know what? I set realistic goals. I love what I do. I love the people that I'm around. I love who I am, and I love how I feel.
Right.
That's amazing. And then so any other decision or any new goal that you have or any new desires or wants that you have come from a grounded place instead of a, ooh, let me scratch and see what I can find next. Let me climb up the next mountain so I can prove myself.
Right. Right. That's so powerful. Figuring out how to find our authenticity and stay in there, or find, ground ourselves in who we are as a person and authentically who we are, not who other people tell us we are, or, and then making our decisions and from there, as opposed to chasing that something that we think the outside will give us, well, really it's all within.
Yes, 100%.
Tell me, do you come across, I've certainly come across this quite a few times, and I'd love to get your perspective on it, where something doesn't feel in alignment, as you've said, let's say in business, and we're really, rumbling around, working hard, trying to fix it, and it just, no matter what we do, it doesn't come right. And when I work with my clients when we dig deep and really figure it out, we understand that feeling really isn't coming from business at all. It's coming from something else. It's coming from within, or from the relationship, or from from children, or from something. But there's always this one outlet that we feel like we can take it out on whether it's the business is stressful, so we're taking it out on the relationship, or the relationship's so stressful and we're taking it out on the business. Do you ever come across that? And what are your tips and tricks on how to first recognize, where is our alignment coming from, or where we're not in alignment? And what do we do about it?
Yeah. So I think this question piggybacks on an earlier question that I don't know that I got the whole way through, and that's how do you recognize when you're out of alignment? And I think that that's probably a good place to start, because I'll tell you what, when you do experience your true alignment, you're like, whoa, this is how things get to be? Like, why didn't anybody tell me about this earlier? So it's a really powerful space to be. But to get into alignment, oftentimes we have to first recognize how we're out of alignment. So one of the things that comes up the most is when there is consistent frustration. We are humans. Sometimes things are irritating, right? Sometimes you need to be like, you know what? Today's just not the day. I'm going to walk away from it. I think it's important to recognize that alignment is not about perfection by any means, not by the stretch of things. It's about recognizing and honoring yourself. So, but when you're in like constant frustration, so you mentioned business, if you're always feeling like you're climbing the ladder, you're always scratching and pulling and like things just aren't working and you're doing all this stuff, a lot of times what we're doing is we're forcing.
Yep.
And when we're forcing, energy is like, call me when you're done. Call me when you're done, because I can't do my work here whenever you're doing all that shit. So recognizing where am I consistently frustrated is a really good indication that you may be out of alignment. Also, looking at resistance, like where am I resisting things? Now, resistance can go one of two ways, so that could be a whole side conversation, but where am I resisting things? Like if I think about putting out an offer, okay, right. I'm getting ready to sell something, I'm ready to promote something. If I have resistance from even talking about it, that's a pretty good indication that there may be some misalignment happening in there. Maybe that's not the right offer. Maybe it's not the right timing. Maybe it's not what I truly want to put out there. Maybe there's something different that I want. So resistance can tell you a lot about yourself as well. And then another thing is procrastination. The things that you procrastinate like hell on constantly is like a blinking light for misalignment. So it's your body's way of saying like, I don't actually really want to do this. I really truly don't want this in my business or in my life. So I'm going to keep putting it off until you recognize that this is not our thing. It could also be something simple as like a thing that can be delegated, right? So it doesn't mean that it has to like go away. if it's a part of the business, it may just also mean that it needs to be delegated. So those are a couple of like indicators that, hey, things are not quite right. And when we honor those things, that frustration, that frantic energy, like I know when I'm out of alignment, when I'm frantic. I'm like doing this over here real quick. And I know that when I'm out of alignment, I'm in frantic energy.
Oh, right. The doing, yep.
Doing. So I'm over here like doing this real quick and an idea comes in. And so I'm writing it over there. And then my text message dings and I'm checking that. And my email comes up and I'm checking that. And then I'm like all over the place. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, Laura, this is not your aligned self. Let me close the email, put my phone on silent, and allow myself to get focused back on the thing that I need to work on right now. Right? It's a lot about like recognizing and coming back. So knowing some of these things about yourself can help you recognize it so that you know, again, it's all about curiosity. The beginning stages of this is just about seeing things, feeling things, maybe for the first time ever.
Wow. I love that. And I love what you just touched upon there in terms of bringing it back to consciousness, I feel like, or bringing it back to we want to be so good at multitasking, and we think that there is, I've certainly felt that when I was working for someone else, that there's like it feels like I'm working harder when I'm multitasking. Honestly,
Absolutely.
That's what it feels like. But yet I'm really not giving my full attention to anything. I am trying to split my mind in multiple ways and hoping that, that will produce a good result. So I love what you've just said there, that I guess to start thinking about not just doing, but what brings you alignment or what brings you joy. Because I haven't met anyone yet who says, I love multitasking, or I love splitting my mind in 50 ways and getting everything done all at once, as opposed to actually sitting with the job that you need to do and really focusing on how you could do it best.
Yes. I also don't know anybody that says that they love that, but I know a shit ton of people that wear that like a badge of honor.
Yep. There we go. Yep.
I'm a fantastic multitasker. I get all these things done. Okay. Do you actually feel great about that? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you actually feel like you were present in what you were doing? Or are you just playing a professional game of whack-a-mole? That game at the arcade where the little moles pop up out of the thing and you got to whack their heads down. Multitasking is not something to be proud of. I don't know what else to say. There's no other way to like smooth talk that. It's just not, because you're not present. You're not fully giving yourself the thing that you're doing. And so if you're just constantly in this like frantic push and pull and grab and toss type of energy, that's how you're going to feel. And so I think a lot of the resistance with not multitasking is, believe it or not, people are not comfortable being comfortable.
Yep.
If you think about focusing your energy, that's a much more calm state. And the way that we've been wired as a society, and especially the way we've been wired as women, we're taught that you have to like bust your ass, hustle, grind, do 1,000 things at one time to be successful. And that's not how our bodies are designed to work. And so people are not used to being still, comfortable, happy, content. All the things that we truly want, we resist by doing activities that push it further away. So when you get very real about multitasking, what's actually going on is you're telling me that you've not given yourself permission to be still enough to focus on one thing.
Right. Right. And that's 100% where a lot of people live is, and where that rat race really comes to shine is when we are so many of us are in a doing phase as opposed to present or feeling phase or conscious phase. So we filled our lives with doing, we fill our life with busyness. And I've certainly felt this so many times. I'm really trying to move out of it completely. But, you sort of, how was your day? I was so busy. I was just so busy. And that badge of honor, like, oh my God, I mean, so much work. If I feel it was kind of, I feel useful or I feel worthy, because I have so much work. And really stepping at the end of the day and thinking about all that work and all that busyness. Did it give me joy? Did it give me fulfillment? And did I actually enjoy, because as you, I know you work one-on-one with your clients, and I do as well. And I love that part. That is the best part of my day. And did I actually sit in those moments as opposed to just trying to rush through it so I can get to the next one and really serve as much as I can, as opposed to just ticking it off my list.
Right. Exactly. It's another firework moment. I call it a firework moment. You get like a quick burst, it felt good.
Yep.
And then it fizzles away. And now we're just waiting for the next firework and the next firework. And, I think that we unconsciously group together as people with problems. And what I mean by that is, if you say, okay, how was your day today, Laura? Oh my gosh, it was so busy. I did this, I did that, and all that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What do you do all the things, and then we like get in this cycle of like connecting through the shit that like drains us. We find connection and power in like bitching about things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know about you, but I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to sit and have conversations about, what lights you up inside and what amazing thing that you did today and why that mattered to you. And how excited you were to see your kiddos doing this thing at their sports event, or I don't know, whatever it is. Like, we connect over the bullshit. And that's a cycle we have to break collectively, is not coming together over the crappy things, but rather holding one another accountable to say, why are you so busy? Is that how you want to live?
Ooh.
How can I help you?
That would be, I would, what a brilliant question to ask. Is that how you want to live? Other people and ourselves. We were talking about doing, and then we're talking about, just being busy and doing, and we're saying that is a short, gives us a short-term satisfaction.
Yep.
And I always say, for me, I'm looking for long-term gratification as opposed to short-term satisfaction. But they both give us a certain feeling.
Yes.
Tell us what is how, because they both give us feelings. So why do the work for the gratification? So why do the work for the long-term gratification if I'm getting a feeling out of the short term?
Well, I think there can be short-term wins, right? I think that's important to honor. Like sometimes that's okay. Again, it's not about being perfect, but like, okay, maybe that didn't go perfectly and it's not really the way that I wanted it, but that gave me a win that I needed today. I think it's okay to honor that. The challenge is if we just stay in that. It's like Groundhog Day, right? Like every day becomes about trying to find fulfillment, to try to find connection, to try to be grounded. And so every day it's like we're starting all over again. Whereas if we broaden our perspective and we look more towards the long-term gratification, I'm choosing to do the hard thing that's going to get me closer to the long-term feeling that I want, the sustainable feeling that I want. That short-term stuff is that. The long-term game is sustainable. And ultimately, that's where like the true peace and happiness really comes from.
Right. And that is because that short term, that doingness, that busyness will not get us what we actually need. I know we think we want A, but what we need might be D. And so that short term satisfaction will not get us to where what we actually need. That, as you said, that connection, that love, that alignment, and just joy in our life, because that short-term stuff that's not what it's designed to do, or it's not because it doesn't fuel your soul. I absolutely love this conversation, and tell me and tell our listeners if people want to go connect with you, or if they want to hear more, because I certainly do, and I absolutely love this conversation. And I know that you work one-on-one with clients, and you also have a podcast. You have so much going on. So tell us, how do they connect with you?
I do have a lot of pieces. The best way to find all things me is to go to my website. So it's lauraora.com, LAURA.com. That's the hub for all things. Mm-hmm. Just from a quick snapshot, you'll have links to the Gutsy podcast, where we talk about this stuff a lot, is on there. Yep. If you would just want like an intro bite piece, TikTok is my jam. That's where I spend the most of my time socially. So the links to my TikTok are on my website. And then I have a couple of different coaching programs that I love to guide people through. Alignment sessions are really fun because they're 90 minutes together, and we just like go very deep, very, very quickly. Yeah. And so if there's something very specific that you want to shift, or you just need some awareness around where you're stuck, but you can't recognize it, you just need I need some quick clarity. Alignment sessions are great. And of course, I've got ongoing coaching programs as well. But lauraora.com is the hub for all things. And would love to guide you in the best way possible.
Thank you so much. Of course, that all of her website, so Laura's website and her social media, will be linked in the description wherever you're listening to this. Please check her out. She does some amazing work. I've been spying on your Instagram. I just love what you're posting. And I think that if you resonate with what we were just talking about, reach out to her, because I know that she can help you a lot. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time, and for having this amazing conversation.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. It's conversations like this that light me up. So it's truly an honor to share the space with you and your audience.
Thank you.